Good morning. I have the pleasure to welcome you to the first meeting of our first workshop of our residential weekend. And I have also the pleasure to work with Clara Cismaru has been together at the Division Conference when she hosted panel discussion. Clara is a very passionate speaker and she does have 4 years of experience and she is enthusiastic and ready to share her experiences with you. Please let me welcome Clara Cismaru.
Good morning, everybody. And I thought, because it's morning, let's start a bit with a warm-up. So can you please all stand up? Perfect. Please think about the color, just the first color that comes through your mind now. Yeah? No, don't tell me, just think. So those of you that thought about blue, please sit down. Okay? Green, please sit down. Okay, from the ones that left, if you don't remember dreaming last night, please sit down. Okay? And from you, did you dream in white and black or did you dream in colors? So if you don't remember any color, sit down.
Wow.
Okay, so we have 3 people. Congratulations. Because I think I'm trying hard to remember the colors in my dream and I cannot. Or sometimes, only when they are more vivid, more memorable. And I congratulate you that you managed to remember this. So, thank you. So that was for warm-up. Now let's enter into the meat of the workshop. I work as a product manager in an IT company. And in the past 2 years, I had the opportunity to speak at more conferences and also in front of many people, like up to 150 people. And also I presented many webinars. So webinars meaning online, but all that I do is recorded and then used by the company to generate some money. So really important presentations. And I experimented a lot. I was afraid a lot that it will not work or that they will fire me because I didn't do it right. And I think I discovered a formula that works in most of the cases. And how many of you came here to find out more about speaking in front of larger audiences? Just raise your hands. Okay, so it looks like the majority of you came for the other type of presentations, right? Like business presentations in front of the small audience, right? Okay. What I discovered was, because as a product manager, you also give presentations in your company to your bosses, or you talk to your clients, or you train your colleagues. I found out that this formula actually works for the other type of presentations too. So I want to share this with you, and I have also support material for you to have a recap after the end of the workshop. And if you have more questions, because definitely I have more content that cannot fit into 40 minutes, just feel free to approach me after, and I'll be happy to talk to you or to help you with your next business presentation. Okay. Now, we did this exercise about the dreams because I want to, and the colors in the dreams, because I want to also use the theme of our conference, the colors. And let's start a little bit with what I would call a nightmare of a speaker. And I record a presentation. It was my second presentation in front of a big audience in the company. I was pretty scared about it because the first presentation was good, like a few months ago, and then I really wanted to be good. I really wanted my company to ask me to speak again. So I wanted to succeed. So I was thinking, I need to be amazing. Then the problem was, it was an IT conference. most of the people men, about 150 people, Germans. And I remember that I prepared some, yes, because I wanted to try some joke, and I wasn't sure if they would react to it. And the problem was that the joke was in the introduction, so I thought if they will not react to it, I'm screwed for the whole presentation. And on top of it, it was a pretty political subject, and all my bosses were there, and I was afraid that maybe they'll fire me if I say something inappropriate. So lots of things were going on through my mind. So you can imagine the moment I was asked to come to speak, I started to shake, and it was really visibly. So I hated myself because I thought after so much Toastmasters experience, I actually managed to overcome this, but it didn't work. So okay, I used all these breathing techniques that you know, so I managed in the end to say the first words. So I started. My name is Clara Cismaru and I know Kung Fu. Exactly. I thought that they would not react, but they reacted. Everybody started to laugh. And even better, somebody asked me, what kind of Kung Fu? Which was perfect, because it was a good connection to the metaphors, my speech, and the rest of it, where I wanted to explain to them that it's not the Kung Fu that you thought it is. So that was the moment when I realized that the audience is fine. Even Germans can understand jokes. We have Andreas here.
No, I don't understand it.
And I thought that it will be fine, and that was, I had two revelations at that time. One was that you are free to try what you feel that is best, even when it's different than what the other people do. And the second, actually most important thing, when you come to speak here, it's not about you as a speaker. I need to be good, I need to be great, I need to impress. It's about you. So it's about the audience. What is your message that you want to give to the people? What are the things that you want them to do after your speech? So I found out that if you focus on this message, if you focus on your audience, you'll still be nervous, it's normal, but you will not be as much as when you start to have all these negative scenarios. So that's the first point that I would like to have today, and I will summarize everything here for you, the important points, so that you remember. Audience. Okay, it looks like I will have to use probably my markers. So on the audience, it's, just remember this, it's not about you. It's about them. Okay, then I will use my markers because these are not good. Anyway, remember the audience part. So now let's move, let's see. Okay, that's one way to control your emotions, but let's get to the most important part of it. What I think it gives you a chance to transform these nightmares in your head into sweet dreams. And I found out that before any delivery, any, I don't know, amazing body language, your voice, jumping, whatever you do here, the foundation of your speech is the content. Because, especially in a business presentation, you are here to transmit a message. You are here to persuade somebody to sell a product, whatever you do there. So the most important is to be clear. So a clear structure with well argumented, that flows nicely, like logically from one point to the other, will help you a lot. What is the structure that I'm talking about? Let's start, I will explain to you from the beginning. What is the basic structure that we learn in project number 2 in the CC manual? We have an intro. Yeah? We have part 1, point 2, point 3, and conclusion, right? Very simple. Now, if we look at because this is fine. Just remember this, it's really good in business. But how to make it more interesting? Let's think about a simple storytelling structure. What do you have at the beginning? Once upon a time, so you have an exposition, you have an introduction of the characters. So once upon a time there was somebody and this person was doing blah blah blah. Until one day something happens, a conflict. And then what do? You start to do something to resolve the problem, right? So you take an action. And you might take more actions, depends on if your story is long or short. Until eventually you get to a solution, to a result, right? You solve it and then you have the end, everybody happy or everybody sad, depends on your story. But in the business, you need to always have happy endings. So this is the end of the story and you have, let's say, a moral here. How does this translate into business? So everything is clear so far, right? Good. How does this translate into business? Of course you have an introduction. That's always the case. Then I found out that the conflict in business is actually the problem or that you are trying to solve, or the need of the customer that you are trying to meet. So, problem. Then on the action part, actually, what you start to do is to present solutions. And this works not only in presentations for large audience, but especially for smaller audiences, because think about it, when you go to your boss, if you go to present a problem, I don't think your boss will like it. So what I found out in my experience, long time experience, is that you also need to go with solutions and with your recommendations. The boss will choose what is best, but you did your job and made the job easier for them too. So the next point is a solution. And the third point is usually a detail of the solution, a demonstration, whatever, you enter deep into it. Detail. And of course, in the conclusion, usually you recap what you've shown here, so you explain how your solution solves the problem. And then what I found out really important in business, usually it's a call to action. Now, not all the speeches have a call to actions, but in general, or presentations in general, there is something that people need to do after your presentation, so you need to be clear about that. So, everything clear so far? Perfect. So, if you see, it's a pretty simple structure, probably is nothing new, but I found out that usually the simple things are the most efficient ones, right? So you don't have to complicate things. So that's actually the structure that I've been using in all my presentations so far. And that's the foundation, and then once you know it well, then you can start to evolve it. So I would like to give you 2 examples for the beginning, and then I would like to have some exercise to see on your type of presentations how we can apply this structure. So first example, let's take my first presentation, big one, large one in the company. My team was developing a new product, and I had to introduce it to our whole company. I used this at that time, okay, I didn't think so much about all this. I started to think 1, 2, 3, I have to put it this way. And I thought, okay, I also need to use some story, not to be boring. So I started with a customer request. This customer came, they wanted this, they had this problem, and we needed to deliver it fast. We didn't have any product, so we had to do something. Then we realized that it's not only this customer, there will be more asking for this in the future, so that was our problem, actually main problem, not for one customer. And we came with this solution, with this new product. And because it was something new, I didn't have so many details to present, but in the detailed part, actually, I talked about the future, what we envision. And then on the call to action, in this situation, I asked these people to help me to come with feedback to me, to come with customer requests so that we can build a product that meets more needs. So as you see, it was a simple speech, a simple structure, but it was very clear. And if you double it with a lot of enthusiasm, with, you come closer to the public, you take a lot of questions, then it was a really success. Second time, like 6 months later, on the presentation that I told you about with the Kung Fu, I was asked to talk about the same product, but at a different audience, and this time we had more things to show there. And I didn't want to use the same stories. I felt like, okay, it's too boring, and anyway, these people don't care that one customer needed something fast. And even worse, I didn't want to plant into their minds that we'll be able to do something just like that. So I had to be careful. So this time, basically, I have the same idea. But what I added extra to it was the fact that I started to plant a little bit, make them aware more about the problem. Because in this situation, maybe they didn't know yet that they have this problem, because they didn't request it for it, right? So I told them a personal story. I told them how once I went to a management meeting and I told them something wrong because I had access to wrong data. And this damaged my reputation, and it was really bad. And the software that we were doing was to help them to get access to accurate data and fast. That's why I also use the metaphor with I know Kung Fu, that in my head it meant, that computer that teaches you Kung Fu in 5 minutes. So the fact that I planted the problem before helped me, because the moment I started to actually enunciate the problem, it was pretty clear for them. And if you double this with analysts, because you need to have data, because I had the emotion before, but they had then data, they had other customer testimonials, it was already clear for them, oh, we have this problem, we weren't aware of it, and now we need to solve it. And then that helped me move into the details and everything else. So now, I have 2 more points that I would like to write here so that you remember. And then we move into exercises. Problem. When you speak in front of an audience, so it's again linked to thinking about your audience, you have to talk about something that they need. You have to solve their problem. Otherwise, it will be boring. Why they should listen to you if you give them nothing? So you need to solve problems. And the third important thing is, of course, when you, problem solution. That's why it works, because you do something for them. When you start to evolve this structure, it also helps in the introduction to give them a hint about this problem. To create, actually you talk about the consequences, right? That's what you do there. You show them how bad it can be if this is not happening, and then you move, it's easier to move into your problem. So let's put here consequence. So it's so far clear. I know it's morning and we still need to wake up. Let's do some exercise before I move to the next point to show you a bit more. So I would like a volunteer here to think about one presentation, any presentation that you needed to have in your company, and I will help you. Let's talk about it and let's see how we can build it to match this structure. So we'll do it together. Who wants to come? Come on, we are Toastmasters here. I will nominate. Shandor? So what is your presentation about?
Just a problem came to my mind that had to be solved in my job earlier. There was a problem. There was a system issue, and some files couldn't be uploaded at the time, and it nearly blocked the whole closing of the balances at the end of the month.
Okay. And okay, so they have a problem that some system is not working, and it can shut down some operations there in the company, some financial ones. So I will not enter now in details. Who is the audience? Where do you want to present this problem?
Maybe bosses.
Your bosses. Do you need to seek approval to continue with the solution, or what do you want to do?
I just want to know them how. Just a minute.
It's okay.
But I was thinking about first of all let them know what's on, how we.
What's happening?
Could solve. The file was not uploaded, and then we have to manage it line by line manually, and what I saw. But it's a huge amount of time and a huge amount of work, and it's just the first point of the whole process. We have to go on. Our process is over, but then there's another team which really has to work with this data, and it would be very time-consuming to put everything there and one by one. My solution would be just to. I enter just the main part of the file, just the very most important lines, and then I give all and every details for the next for the presenter of the next step, who on base of it can manage the whole problem, can manage the whole situation, and make sure that everything is clear up to the end of the closing of balances.
And what do you want your bosses to do? Do you want them to approve this, or to approve this?
Yes.
Okay, so if we go through this structure,
yes.
Let's see how we go there. So we have, okay, on the intro, that depends on you how you want to start to introduce. So let's get to the problem. So you will tell them that you have a problem that will cause a lot of work, a lot of manual work, so delays, a lot of issues because of this issue in the system, right?
Yes.
Then the solution is, you had an idea how to optimize this, right?
Yes. That's right. That I make an easier, how to see.
It's okay, because probably most of the people here don't really understand your system, so I'm trying to translate it. So you found a solution to make this automatic, right? To eliminate the manual work?
Yes, or to make it as
automatic as possible. Okay?
Possible. Yes.
And probably depending on what they need to do, you will give them more details about the solution, and at the end you ask them to approve it, right?
Yes.
So thank you. So it works, this structure, it works if you go this way, because imagine if you just go there and tell them, I want to do this and please approve it, but you don't explain to them what, and they don't realize why they need to do this investment. It will be more difficult too. Anybody else want to try another one, or please? Yes, Cecile. If you want to, you already know and you can already speak about it in this, or if you want to talk about it, depends on you.
It's something I had a few months ago at work. We had, I work in a pretty non-digital company, which discovered that there is a need to get digital. And we gave a request to management to develop the internal system so that we can go digital, have an internet portal, and be able to sell our services through the internet. And well, that's for the introduction. It was the start from this meeting we had. The problem is that we got an answer which was not before year 2018. So the problem was very clear. There was no need to speak too long about it. We needed definitely to get a new system, a new solution, and we didn't get the authorization to develop internally and to spend money. So the solution was to go abroad, to go outside to purchase and to share the cost to find this financial solution within the company. And then we proposed an action plan, which was to define our need, to invite potential providers, to get a budget, and then finally to come up with a financing solution. We have a special structure which makes it possible to share costs between several companies. So this was the solution, and then simply we made in common, we made a plan. I suppose
It fits. I mean, does it fit?
And
So-
I must say, in this structure, it was pretty efficient. I'm very, very glad to say that really people have begun working. I'm not in the product anymore. Because without me.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Cecile. So you see that it works. I didn't invent these examples. So it's really good structure, so try it. Now, I have one more tip. In case you have presentations where you also need to make them more colorful, right? Let's move into colorful presentations. Of course, if you need to approve something, you go clearly problem, solution, detail. But then if it's presenting in front of audiences, you need to catch their attention somehow. Especially when you have slides, you need a way to add some variation in the slides or some nice pictures in the slides. And I found out that it's really easy when you use what is called a unified visual team or a unified team. I found it in a book before my last presentation at the conference. And what does it mean? You think about a metaphor, something that could apply to your whole speech. Ideally it is, of course, the best is when you can have something really, maybe an overall story that can relate to any point. But if you don't have this, just choose anything random that somehow matches with this. In my case here, I have chosen the colors because I thought it's the theme of the conference, and I want to show you how you can match the colors with my workshop. And what do? You take this point, mainly these 3 points, right? Here is where you need something special. Well, on the introduction, you introduce your metaphor. So this gives you also a way for some interesting introduction, because people will try to understand, what do you mean by I know Kung Fu? What are you doing with this in a business presentation? And then when you introduce the other points, you give them a nice title that is connected to your theme. So what I did today, so in the intro we did a warm-up with the colors, with the dreams. You didn't know why I'm doing this here about this. Then I told you in the introduction, I explained you a little bit the metaphor. And then when I got into a problem, I called it the nightmare. When I came to the solution, I called it sweet dreams. And now on the third point, well, in my case it's not detail, it's like going a bit more deeper into special things, how you can play with this structure. I called it the colorful dreams. And you will see in the end I come back to it with the conclusion to my original, to my introduction and to my metaphor. So imagine that by having this unified team, you can then use amazing pictures there that are not connected at all to your system. So instead of a boring diagram or whatever you need to show later, you have these points. And I found out that they work. I used one time at this last presentation some metaphor with climbing mountains. So it was like the mountain, the top of the mountain was the wonderful world that will happen after you solve all your problems. So then when I went through the points, I actually, in the first point, I talked about the fact that when you climb a mountain, it's hard. The second point was on the solution part, because we had a partnership there that brought us the solution. I said that you always climb with a partner. The rule of the mountain said that you never climb alone. And then the third one, it was that, okay, you can go up. Any person that is determined enough can go up, but the most important is to come back. which for me linked very well with the fact that our solution gave them also the possibility to recover if they do some errors in the market. So that made it really interesting. I could put beautiful pictures with the mountains from my holidays, and people liked it because it was different. So I will put this as a fourth part. Think about the fourth point, overall team or unified team. And also I will write it here, I didn't write it earlier. Okay, this is the structure, but when you come to build your presentation, please start with the end. What do you want to tell them? What do you want them to do after? Don't write anything here because it doesn't matter. You can have the best speech possible. If you don't have the end that is relevant for them, you have nothing. So make sure that this is clear. Sometimes I spend more time here than here. So the message is, start with the message. Okay, and now we are coming, time is short, I really have so many things to tell you, but I will tell you after. So I want to give you one more example of how this structure can be evolved. So this looks like pretty simple, pretty efficient. I need to tell you about the problem, I need to tell you about the solution. What if you have a presentation where you need to motivate your team to do more? Or I don't know, motivate your colleagues. How can you work on this? I had another conference where I remember the same, actually it was the third time on the same theme of the presentation when I thought, okay, it's a different audience, I will use the previous one, I'm too lazy to do anything different. And then the night before, after a beer, I got an idea. I will change it, whatever, I will do it. Again, testing, and we'll see what happens. So in the introduction, so this is the part where you can transform it into a different type of speech. In the introduction, I talked about another personal story. Actually, at that conference, I have received an award, like a few days before. So I came at the beginning with the award and I asked everybody, what do you think that you need to do to win this award? And they looked at me like, but do you want it? Yeah, of course we want it, because it was a really nice prize after, like, with it. Well, I also don't know what to do. I don't know why I got this prize, so I didn't know, which was true, because I was surprised. And then I started to tell them how I came to the company a few years before, and I worked in a team, like a project nobody cared about, and how one day somebody, when I came to the company, somebody didn't want to open the door for me because he asking me, who are you? After half a year of working in a company. And that I felt so lonely that I decided to do something. So I went to our management and told them, you are wasting this talented team here. They are doing nothing. They are leaving, so let's do something with this project. So I followed the structure. I told them a problem. I gave them a solution, like directions where I thought we can go with this project. And this actually was the start of this product that I was going to present them that day. So then I went into the normal things. Okay, let's look what we did. And at the end, when they did not expect me to come back because they thought I closed the story, I came back to that and I told them, but my award was about innovation. So I told them, innovation is actually achieved when you work together as a team. So when you have this desire to work in a team. So actually from a purely informative speech, I managed to make an inspiring speech. So you can see that you can always combine everything. It's just once you have the foundation, you can always play here with the introduction and the end to change it. So it all depends on the occasion, what you want to give to your audience. So we still have a little bit more time before we end. So let's do one more exercise. Does anybody have a story of some presentation that you had and you thought that it was good, so that we can see together how that worked? Or we can even talk to see how you can make it better next time. Still morning, I know. Come on, we are Toastmasters here, and all business. So I'll pick somebody. Shandor,
I would just add
Tell me.
something else.
Yes.
Up to the time when somebody is. But I liked in your presentation that you said that if you want to catch your audience, you have to think a little bit different than the others. And it's really works. It's amazing. Just you do a little bit thing a little bit different way, and the audience is caught. You
Yes.
catch the whole audience.
So Shandor said that he noticed that he liked what I said earlier, that if you want to catch your audience, you need to be a bit different than the others. Actually, what I meant by this, and he said that it works, and it works. Why? Because if you look there, most of the presentations are just classic one. Okay, I need to give a report, so I'll show you some numbers, I tell you we need to do this, this, that, and that's it. Oh, I sell you a product, these are the features, these are the benefits, just deal with it, buy our product, right? But we here in Toastmasters have learned a lot of things, right? So we know a lot of techniques, and many times it might think like, oh, we are too theatrical here, I cannot go at work and start to scream or dance on the stage. Maybe not. Right? Maybe you don't exaggerate this way. Depends on your audience. If it's something where you can entertain them, you can do this too. But there are still a lot of techniques that we learned. And I think the CC manual, and we have here Tuire, we'll show you later how to use the CC manual on a keynote speech. You will see that there's so much wisdom in that manual that you can always use in your business presentations, and it will be visible, believe me. I don't think I did anything extremely special at work, but because I was different than most of the people there, everybody started to tell me, wow, how amazing this is. Yes, Shandor.
Just let me tell you my example related to this. It was not a business.
Can you and tell to the others, not to me?
Yes, of course. And so my experience is. Sorry, but
Yeah, and I'll stay close to you because I have a microphone for the camera, so the microphone catches you.
Yes. So.
I intimidate him.
Different, you know. But I did as a presentation for visually. There's a lot of people in our group that just take a PowerPoint presentation, and sometimes everything is written there. What I did especially is that I talked about the red meats, and I didn't want to do PowerPoint presentation. I have another system that wasn't sure about how much it is usable one at another, and I just thought, okay, about red meat, I brought to the meeting some red meat as it is. Everybody was laughing.
Red meat.
Really thought about it that it will come.
Thank you. Thank you, Shandor. Okay, so in conclusion, I would like to leave you with this thing, this thought. Remember the warm-up that we had at the beginning with the colors. The reason I have asked you about dreaming in colors is because, yeah, the dreams, when you dream in colors, the dreams are more memorable. So I think it's the same with the speeches. When you make them color, when you show your color, they are more memorable. What do you think is your color? When I say show your color, what do you think I mean by this?
Inner self.
Inner self, exactly. What else?
Personal story.
Personal story?
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. So what does all mean?
Personality.
Personality, authenticity. That's it. That's your color. So my advice to you, and I saw that it works, and you know me that I'm a big fan of ambassador authenticity everywhere I go. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't look at your colleague. It doesn't matter that they do it this way. Don't copy what they do. Do what you feel. Okay, you will be afraid. I was a lot. I thought, oh, they will not listen to it. They will react to it, believe me. If you feel that it works, if you believe in it, if you just show your style, it will work anytime. So dare to be authentic. Thank you.
Please give a hand once more to Clara Cismaru for this amazing workshop when we got a lot of inspirational ideas and ways how to present.
Thank you. Thank you. So anytime you have a question, you can ask me because I have